Hello everyone, and welcome to another royal reading here at MadWorldTarot. The last day of January, hard to believe, perfect day here where I am, and not so perfect for the Parkles in Montecito by all accounts. And that is because they were mocked mercilessly at an industry event in LA. I think it was yesterday. Hence the Tinseltown Tarot. That's what's on the tarot table today doing this reading. It was at a Netflix event, prestige event. The season launch, all the important people were there, and not the Parkles. They were not invited. Meghan's cooking, lifestyle, gardening, beekeeping, freezing flowers, icing donuts thing was not featured. Interestingly, amongst the slew of new titles that were on display at this event in LA. But the worst of it all was that comedian John Mulaney, in his little spiel, said, "This is a really fun experiment. Not since Harry and Meghan has Netflix given more money to someone without a plan." And everybody laughed, even though the big cheeses were in the audience, and nobody felt the need to pretend that they thought the Parkles were special. So whatever layer of protection they had has clearly been removed, and they clearly are held in, well, is contempt too strong a word by Netflix, that Netflix couldn't even be bothered to invite them or promote Meghan's show that all hopes are resting on, as far as Meghan is concerned anyway, for her future career in Tinseltown. And so we're going to have a look at this, doing a Celtic cross, looking at the Parkles and where they are with this Netflix deal. The show is still coming, apparently, in March, frantically reshooting, according to rumour, and trying to make her look better, trying to make the show look better. So I think we are going to see it. That's my sense. We're going to ask anyway. 8 of Swords showing up there and 3 of Swords. Painful cards. But we're just doing a Celtic cross, looking at the Parkles and this moment of ridicule in LA. And how did it go down? How's the cooking show going to go? Individually, how they're feeling. Harry, Meghan, about this flop of a deal with Netflix. Seems to be it's up later in the year and doesn't sound like it's going to be renewed. It's a big money spinner for them, and things might be a bit tight without it financially, so I'm going to look at that next. But for now, just looking at this moment of ridicule at this big event and how it went down in Montecito. Do they care? Maybe they don't care. Maybe they've pivoted again away from Hollywood and back to humanitarian things. They've got the excitement of the Invictus Games coming up, so maybe they don't care. Let's remind you, tarot for fun and entertainment, or my opinion, all speculation. I just read energy here, and disclaimer in the box below. What is going on with Netflix and the Parkles and all of this ridicule, as it was described, ridicule that people sniggered in the audience, even though the head honchos, and I'm quoting, the head honchos were there in the audience. Ooh, we got Judgment, and it's in reverse. Judgment in reverse tells me two things. Criticism, when the card is in reverse, being judged very harshly, very harshly. And the other thing about the Judgment card, that's our underlying energy. Of course, it sits under the actual Celtic cross. The other thing about Judgment is it's the second coming. So it's often read in tarot as another chance at something. You get a go round, and here we go again, try again. It's in reverse. You're not going to get another chance at this. You blew it. The huge deal, crazy amounts of money. They did seem to get a retainer, an annual kind of retainer, to keep them ticking over while all these things were happening, and the Netflix cameras were following them around, famously in New York when they were chased out of the United Nations, and Harry was carrying that ridiculous, was it a briefcase? It said Archie's dad or something, I don't know, can't remember the silliness of it all. But anyway, there it is. I think that's a one card reading. right there. Criticism and no, you don't get another chance at this. All in one. Thank you, Tarot. There we have it, our underlying energy. So, situation that the Parkles find themselves in now. Seven of Swords is shady energy. Kind of, it would make more sense if it was red, if it was upside down in this reading, reverse, sorry. And then it would be, you know, being exposed. But getting away with stuff is what the Seven of Swords is really about. You can see that the magician type fellow has got all these swords that he's hiding on his person, and he's going to be stabbing them into that poor, I assume there's the lady assistant in the box. But it's doing bad things, the Seven of Swords, really. And so it's telling me almost, and this is my opinion, my personal opinion, or the energy of the card is telling me that basically the Netflix deal is kind of perceived almost as criminal. It was so reckless, giving so much money to people who had so little clue of what to do. They had never produced anything. Meghan was once married to a producer. He wasn't very successful at the time. He was a hustler, really. He got lucky and married a very wealthy woman after she dumped him. So Trevor's life improved dramatically. But I don't think he was a big power player in Hollywood. I think they were sort of mid-range hustler types. And so she wasn't doing the producing. Trevor was doing the producing. She was trying to be a star, or even a starlet, as the neighbour in Montecito called her. That tells me that that's the general consensus about the Netflix deal. So what's the problem facing the Parkles right now? Problem facing them is the Fool. And the Fool can literally in this card mean the Fool. I take it as the Fool. They have been made to look ridiculous. They know that people not only think badly of them, Hollywood Reporter, Vanity Fair, the bullying allegations, Harry's alleged stupidity, the nonsensical ideas he came up with, the need for hot chocolate, cocoa, whatever it was, sort of had to be mummied and reparented. And she was the one who also had no ideas and sort of lifted other people's ideas and represented them as her own, all allegedly, of course, for entertainment purposes, of course. But the challenge for them now, apart from just looking stupid, is how do they restart their lives in Hollywood again? How many times have they reimagined themselves, reinvented themselves, rebranded themselves? Last year we had the brand separation and then the brand reconciliation, and not many months after that. So it just goes on and on and on. And how much longer can they do this? That is the great question with the Fool. So what's at the root of all of this ridicule and this failure of Brand Sussex? We've got the Empress in reverse. It's her, really. She's the one who's failed, our lady there in pink. And she is, of course, the one who was supposed to be the success. We were told in the Vanity Fair article that Harry was quite happy to play with the dogs and, you know, don't think they mentioned the kids. Play with the dogs and ride his bike and go surfing and do whatever. And Meghan could be the one that earned all the money and had the acclaim and the fame and got the Hollywood star and all of that. He didn't care as long as she looked after him. She's failed signally, the Empress. Female energy and abundant, creative, inspiring, loved energy, beautiful energy. When it's upright, in reverse it's the opposite. So she's not creative. She hasn't brought in the money. The Empress is all about the money. It's Venus energy. So it's about money and value and worth and beauty and generosity and being desirable and attractive and all those things in reverse. So the opposite of all of that. She's failed. She's failed creatively. She's failed also to be attractive, an attractive energy, a valuable energy to people. They don't like her. That's my personal opinion. That's what's coming through with the Empress in reverse. It really has everything to do with her. He was just the fool along for the ride in this, in my opinion. We got major arcana out here so far in this reading. So let's see where the focus is. Where's the energy now for the two? We're reading them together. Four of Pentacles, got to hang on to what you've got and stabilize yourself and establish yourself, and focus on the things that make you feel safe and secure. Is the Four of Pentacles. Hang on to what you've got. And what do they have? Invictus Games, well, child. She sent a note quite recently to that charity in the UK, the one where she had the clothing capsule, sort of capsule wardrobe for them. Forgotten who they are. Might come back to me as I'm waffling my way through this. But Four of Pentacles, hang on to what you've got, what makes you feel safe, the bit of money, the bit of status, the bit of prestige that you do have. They can say, well, we had the best-selling book ever in the history of the universe in Spare. And Meghan was also a New York Times best-selling author with The Bench. And Harry and Meghan, the mockumentary, was very successful. So they can clutch on to that. So I think what they're doing in Montecito is they're going to that awards cabinet where they've got all those awards that they bought. They went through that phase when they still had money. They bought that NAACP award. Harry was the living legend of aviation. He got that other thing, that Pat Tillman award, which caused such a furore. The mother came out and denounced him for it and said he was unworthy. They have a few others. I've lost track. Kennedy thing as well. There were a few others. The one where she had to go through the Hertz sort of where you go and sign for your car down in the basement there in the Hertz dress and that big gold bedspread that she wore that day. Well, the catastrophic car chase. There's been a few. So I think they've been at the cabinet. I nearly said the drinks cabinet. No, the awards display cabinet, and are reminding themselves how successful they are and how everybody loves them. And particularly him, that's coming across really as Harry for me. Don't worry. And they're just the haters, the derangers, the loathers, whatever they are called. But see all these precious awards you've got. So how did when they found out about this, what happened in Montecito or wherever they are, Knight of Swords, probably on the phone to the lawyers. But you know, how can you get on the phone to the lawyers when it's Netflix? Retribution. That Knight of Swords has that energy for me, swift retribution, because it is very fast. Probably a conversation was had with somebody like an agent, trying to get through to the head honchos at Netflix. I don't think they would have succeeded because it's too inferior, that energy. Knights, it's not king. So on the phone to a minion, somebody, one of their sort of runners was sent out, possibly with a threat of litigation, or take it back, or put something in People magazine or Us Weekly or Hello or wherever they are sending their puff pieces now. Make it stop. That's the energy that's coming through that Knight of Swords for me personally, my personal opinion. Next energy is, of course, March the 4th. What is happening? With love, Meghan is hitting our screens. Well, not mine because I don't have Netflix, but some of yours. And how's that going to go with Netflix? And King of Wands. Yeah, it's still there. I get this King of Wands energy quite often. For my money, it's Ted Sarandos, however you say his name, I don't know. It's him. I think he's still on sides. I think he's still a Meghan fan. I think because of the wife. I think the wife has bought into the whole Meghan oppressed and bullied because of her 43% Nigerianness. And I think that is the thing, that they think she's misunderstood and bullied and she's just a dear sweet thing and can't understand why everybody hates her. So this thing is going to come out and it's going to be promoted in due course, and it's going to get the support of, I think, Ted. That's what the energy is that's coming through there. It's going to get a shove, but because of her ability to, I'm going to use the word, in my opinion, manipulate people to think that she's just this dear darling, helpless, defenseless thing who just means well. And everybody loves her except these nasty derangers. So let's look at them individually, Harry and Meghan, and see how they are feeling about this bruising experience at this launch event. Harry, temperance, very angry. I got this card yesterday for Harry, the temperance card in reverse. Furious. Very angry. I don't think Harry has ever experienced this in his life. Normal people, you find out pretty quickly how life works and where you are in the pecking order. And it happens in your family with your siblings, and it happens out in the world at school and with your friends, and when you go and do things like sport and other activities, and you go to work and you study, and you get the edges knocked off you somewhere along the line. But never happened to Harry, in my opinion. He didn't have any of that, and this is a new experience for him, a really new experience. He's not used to being ridiculed, laughed at in public. I mean, the Brits didn't do that to him. A few intrepid characters booed the Parkles when they arrived at St. Paul's, when they managed to miss the bus that were taking the rest of the lesser royals to St. Paul's, and the Parkles got their own car. And they swanned in, and she did that Miss Piggy walk down the aisle, smiling at everybody while the congregation were glaring at them. And Harry had that sulky look on his face. That's as close as he's ever got to feeling judged. Judgment card in reverse underlying all of this. Very angry. And I think he was all for phone the lawyers and send that letter out and get them to back down, and we're going to sue John Mulaney. I'm being a little bit what's his name? Yes, I'm being a little bit snarky, of course, because it's tarot for fun and entertainment. Meghan, how did it go down for Madame? Ace of Cups. That's her on the phone to get him, our King of Wands, back on sides. Might have taken to the bottle. There is that energy in that Ace of Cups for me. Might have been tears. Is it full of emotion, the Ace of Cups? Might have been tears. Might have been on the floor again. I hope it's a floor that has carpets, for the sake of those knees and those legs. Whatever has to land on the floor, those perilously weak-looking ankles in those high shoes, could really do herself some damage if she's forever collapsing on the floor to sob piteously. But it's more giving me getting her people around her to reassure her that she's adored and worshipped, and everybody is just loathers because they're jealous of her, and getting there. This to me is Harry. Harry is going there with the energy. She is going there with the energy. That's how I'm reading this. Anyway, my opinion. Hopes and fears for the two in Montecito. Page of Swords in reverse. They're worried about more criticism. This is criticism, gossip, scandal, nasty things on social media, memes, things like that going on X, and seeing there have been some quite funny ones lately with Crying Girl, what's her name, Selena Gomez, and then the Netflix trailer, that was quite a funny thing. So they're going to be quite upset about that, dreading that, worried about that, because when you lose social media to that extent, you can never get it back. When you are just mocked relentlessly on social media, you are done, basically. And they've got there, basically, the Parkles now. I think people are just like, everyone's at it now. People who would never have even noticed them before are coming out and saying terrible things about them. People with millions of followers on various platforms who are quite serious commentators on serious subjects are coming out and criticizing them, and they're feeling it, and they're worried about it getting worse, and what can they do to stop it, because now we don't have censorship anymore, and now free speech is actually a valuable commodity is the wrong word, a valuable right is a better word. We're back in free speech territory, and we're not being censored for what we do and say online so much anymore. Anyway, it's filtering through, but the tide has changed in that regard. How's this Netflix deal going to go going forward? What's going to happen to it? And we got the Page of Cups. There's going to be begging and pleading. Please, with that Page of Cups, please, please, please don't drop us. Please, please, please don't say nasty things. Don't release a press statement saying that is the end of that. So I think what's going to happen is going to be a bit like the Penguin Random House thing, which has been quietly dropped. There were supposed to be 4 books, and they got the bench out of it. And they had to take that one in order to get Spare out of the has-been. And Spare, of course, sold very well. Some people say it didn't sell as well as we've been led to believe, or make as much money as we've been led to believe, but deal dropped. I think that it's going to be worded in such a way that we can't quite tell. It's like William Morris Endeavour. Where is that? What's going on with that? Nobody's ever come out officially and said, the end. We hate each other, like the Spotify guy did. And apparently there was some behind the scenes legal stuff going on. Things got a bit nasty there somewhere along the line. So I don't think we're going to get that sort of closure that we all might be looking forward to. Not yet. There's going to be pretty words. Page of Cups. Pages are communications words. Cups are glossing things over, smoothing things over, flattery, that sort of stuff. And so it's not going to be as clear cut as we might like, but it's bad enough in here. It's bad enough. Very angry Harry. Meghan getting her girl gang around her to, fill her with champagne and say, you'll soon be celebrating your brilliant show. And it does look, it's like it's going to get pushed and it's going to get promoted. So they haven't given up on her yet. Of course, they've got to milk this for all it's worth, this with Love Meghan. So I can see it there again. I get that energy consistently when I read on that show. I do think we're going to get it, and I do think they're going to try their very best to make it a success. So there it is, all her fault. Let's not forget the Empress down there, in my opinion, of course. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.